Are you tired of being a lowly ground pounder? Are you sick of sweating through your underwear every time you fire a single laser? Do you still whiplash from the last time you ejected from your dying mech?
I'm ejecting!
Well, if so, MechWarrior, get ready for a promotion because I have the game for you. It's MechCommander. Developed by FASA Interactive and released for Windows PCs in 1998, MechCommander is a real-time strategy game set in the Battletech universe, where players control a squad of giant robots called Battlemechs.
You start the game with a single squad of up to 4 mechs, but quickly gain control of up to 3 squads for a total of up to 12 Battlemechs.
Now, as you might have noticed from the screenshots and footage, MechCommander isn't like most real-time strategy games that were popular at the time. The game ditches the concepts of resource gathering and base building found in its contemporaries such as Command & Conquer and StarCraft, and instead focuses strictly on tactical combat. As Battletech fans know, you always want to flank your enemy, and the game's intro cutscene even shows this trick in action to beat a superior mech. Scouting enemy positions is another important tactic, giving players a chance to use artillery to take out foes or split up enemies into more manageable packs.
That's not to say it lacks strategy.
It's just that the strategic elements are pushed into the pre-mission briefings, which give you an opportunity to manage your mechs and your mech warriors. The campaign story casts you as a leader in the Davian Guards, which is attempting to take back an occupied planet from Clan Jaguar. You're given a limited pool of resource points based on the objectives you've completed, and man, the guards are stingy. You'll often be forced to send a mech into the field without a full weapons loadout because you can't afford spare parts, in the early game at least. You can earn field salvage off of enemy mechs that you destroy, and sometimes even salvage entire mechs if you get lucky.
Enemy components captured.
And you can also take weapons from the field depots that you'll find strewn throughout the game's missions. Hunting down these depots is critical to taking the edge off of the difficulty of the first few missions, which, to be clear, can be very punishing. There's one particular moment where you unexpectedly run into a much more powerful mech than those you had faced previously. It's almost guaranteed to ruin your day the first time that you face it. MechCommander's real-time tactical gameplay was not entirely unique in 1998, but it was a bit unusual, and it predates the genre's broader shift towards tactical gameplay by several years. Most of the genre's iconic real-time tactics titles like Ground Control and even Dawn of War 2 were still several years off. But I think the inspiration for this approach is not too hard to understand. The game entered development just as the real-time strategy genre was beginning to take off, but RTS gameplay doesn't really fit the core fantasy of Battletech very well. The rules of the tabletop game are focused on tactical combat between small squads in the extensive extended universe, which, believe it or not, includes over 100 published sci-fi novels, tends to focus more on the exploits of individual mech warriors or lances than the economic realities of a 32nd century war machine. I have a feeling that Battletech fans would have cried foul if FASA Interactive tried to shoehorn base building into the game, and it just so happens that this decision gave MechCommander a unique hook in a market saturated by Command & Conquer clones. But much like slapping 4 PPCs on an armor-stripped catapult in hopes of sniping enemy mechs the moment they appear, MechCommander's formula did have some downsides. Ditching turn-based play for real-time action forced the designers to compromise on many of the tabletop game's mechanics. Heat management is completely absent, and tactical options like called shots or shutting down a mech to avoid sensor detection are gone as well. The lack of options means that overwhelming firepower will almost always win the day, and the best mech builds are designed to optimize for that by lumping together many high-damage weapons that fire at once in an alpha strike, a balance issue found in most MechWarrior games as well. In short, you're going to see a lot of so-called boats. LRM boats, pulse laser boats, PPC boats, anything that just has a whole bunch of one weapon. Still, there is plenty of fun to be had with MechCommander, and a lot of it comes down to the sheer enjoyment of watching big stomping mechs run around your computer screen. The game's 2D sprites, which are based off 3D models, are well detailed, have excellent animations, and interact with the environment. You'll blow craters in the terrain, burn down forests, and smash walls.
The game also shipped with multiplayer, which pit fixed squads of players against each other in a variety of objective-based maps.
It was a fresh take on multiplayer at the time, completely ditching the strategic elements found in most competitors for blisteringly quick tactical matchups. Unfortunately, the balance problems that I mentioned did creep into the multiplayer scene, and the game's meta shifted towards a few specific loadouts within a few months of release. I remember clan pulse lasers and PPC boats ruling most fights, depending on the map. One thing that MechCommander executes with the precision of an elite clan warrior is the intro cutscene.
Move to waypoint green and stay sharp. I don't like the smell of it.
Got something.
Clear the channels. I have enemy contact.
Computer gaming world legend Lloyd Case, who reviewed the game for the magazine, called the intro cutscene one of the best I've seen in any game. I know this kind of stuff always is going to look a little out of date from a modern perspective, but this was excellent stuff for 1998, and honestly, I think it ranks among the best live-action introduction cutscenes from any game in the 1990s. It's attractive, well-produced, and the actors turn in a passable performance. It also tells a short, quick story that's actually relevant to the gameplay.
Got its attention, sir. Now move out.
Roger that.
Follow this path.
Unfortunately, it's a bit of a one-off. The mission briefings aren't as impressive, and the final cutscene is a big disappointment because it drops the live action elements completely and even reuses voice lines from earlier in the game itself. Now, the game was followed by an expansion pack called Desperate Measures, which added new mechs like the Bushwhacker and the Mauler, as well as 3 campaigns, all of which I think are superior to the original. A sequel, MechCommander 2, was released in 2001 and took the game into the 3D era. I can't personally comment on the sequel, which I somehow missed, but the community seems split on it compared to the original. Some say the second game offers more depth, but others claim it's just way too easy. And that unfortunately was the end of the line for the MechCommander franchise, mostly I think through no fault of its own. Both games received mixed but generally positive reviews, but Battletech games just were not selling that well compared to other PC games of the era. MechWarrior still had fans, but by the 2000s, major publishers were starting to look for games that seemed sure to sell 1 million or 2 million units, not a few 100,000. FASA Interactive reacted by shifting focus to the new Mech Assault franchise for the Xbox, and well, that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries was released in 2002, and it was the last new Battletech game on the PC until 2013's MechWarrior Online. MechCommander and MechCommander 2 also remain unique to this day because there was never another attempt to bring real-time tactical gameplay to the Battletech universe. Neither game is available to buy right now, but fortunately both games are easy to track down. It's widely considered to be abandonware because of Microsoft's odd decision to release the source code of MechCommander 2 for free in 2006. The same never occurred for the original game as far as I can tell, so I'm not sure that the claim that it is open source is entirely accurate, but the community has marched on as if it was, and the game is easy to find, available for download online. There's multiple fan mods and updates available too, which patch bugs and tweak balance. One commonly circulated original version of the game is MechCommander Gold, which includes the game's expansion, and amazingly, it will kinda sorta run on modern Windows systems in compatibility mode. If you want to play either game, give the video description a look. I've put a link to a Reddit thread that explains how to install and patch both titles. But that is it for MechCommander, which I think is still among the best ways to watch big, stompy mechs march across your screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.